Do you guys like feel remorse when you pass roadkill? Like,
Oh yes.
I mean, sometimes
I cry. I go, oh no. I've moved things off the road.
There's a raccoon on 68 on the way back to Cranberry right now, and I saw it yesterday, and I thought I was like, poor little guy, and I still see it in the middle of the road, and it makes me mad that thing's still sitting there. Like,
sometimes deer. Sometimes I've seen a cat or two on the ground. That obviously.
Derek, imagine a car just blasts you and you die, and they just leave you to lay in the middle of the road.
I'm a person, though.
Yeah.
I'm a person.
But it's still a living thing. It's still a living thing.
So is an ant. So is an ant.
Don't even get me started on ants. With this one right here, he was giving me crap. I was like, there's ants, but I can't kill them. And he's like, yes, you can. And I was like, no.
They still feel. They still have emotions.
Sure.
So, they have a purpose.
I ran over, going home a couple weeks ago, I ran over a possum. I mean, it came out like right in the... There was a car
Brendan
coming the other way.
just went up on the Richter scale.
There was a car coming the other way. I couldn't serve them.
You guys were all here, and Brendan just went boom. He's up there now.
I killed a couple birds. Like, there's just nothing you can do about it. I don't actively try to hit.
Well, no.
When it flies into the side of your car, there's nothing you can do about it.
I agree. However, I don't think it's right to leave them on the road. I think they need to be taken off the road and given a proper burial, or at least not being run over a million times.
Well, the hawks come down and
but then the hawks are going to be in danger because then they're on the road.
They're going to be that's their supper. That's their dinner. Ring the bell, baby.
Man, this cold open has some spice today.
Ring the bell.
I am Butler Eagle sports writer Derek Pida, and here with me today are fellow sports writer Brendan Howe and Eagle sports editor Jake Murda Adams. This is Season 2 of the Alter Eagles Eye on Sports.
You're
dinner bell.
Yes, I know what you mean. But is that what it sounds like?
I'm eating tuna. No, I can't make the sound, but I'm eating tuna.
This is what I think about that.
Are you eating tuna and onions for dinner? Is that what you got?
Tuna casserole.
Oh.
I've seen him eat tuna and onions
What's
in the newsroom
in your
for
tuna
dinner.
casserole? What's in it?
Noodles, tuna, and
casserole.
I think that's it.
Casserole sauce.
I ate it. I had it last night for dinner, and there's leftovers.
Green beans, Ritz. No?
Ritz. Don't think it's... Oh, I can't.
My son tried putting garlic on green beans the other night, and it didn't work out.
No.
He's getting smelly foodage
but
from
wait,
you.
TJ's Hideaway has these like green beans that are like... I don't know if they're like lightly fried. Did you hear that dog? Did you guys hear it?
I heard something. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, it's a dog.
This is good audio.
It's a big dog.
Our listeners are just like, okay.
He was a big dog. Sorry. Anyways, they have these great green beans that are fried, and I don't really like fried stuff. They're pretty good. And I think there's a dipping sauce, and I feel like there's garlic in it. But what I was going to tell you, tuna casserole, put some of those crispy onions straws on top. Yeah. That's the crunch you want. Mm-hmm. Little wasabi peas, man. I'd be throwing wasabi peas in there.
You can keep the wasabi peas.
You don't... What? I thought you liked spicy.
I do, but...
Try it. Just a couple. You get a nice crunch out of nowhere. You're like, wow. And then it's like, then your sinus is clear. Yeah.
Chili garlic sauce.
Wasabi peas.
Wasabi peas to spring sports. That's the segue. It's late March.
Never before done.
We know what that means. Baseball, softball, weather permitting, are underway. Track and field. Of course, flag football is in the mix this year. Jake, you have been working on a number of players to watch lists for the spring season. And one of those is boys volleyball. And I find it interesting that it seems like every boys volleyball team that we cover, which is only, 4?
Yep.
But they have a common theme. And can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, it's good luck knowing who any of these players are. I say that like in jest a little bit, but there's so much turnover from last year across every sport. I mean, 2 years ago when I first started here, Mars was in the middle of making a state playoff run to the state semifinals, I think they got to. And this year their roster is almost entirely unrecognizable, at least compared to like previous starting lineups. The only one who is back from any of the teams that was an honorable mention or all-star of any sort for us was Rex Rainier from North Catholic. He's a sophomore libero. We named him honorable mention on our all Butler County teams last year, but everyone else, I mean, Maddox McCall from Butler is a returning senior libero. There's guys that have played, but they weren't like the they weren't the faces of the team of their respective team last year. So it's a lot of unknown for us. We kind of had this similar situation with swimming this past year, outside of a handful of names in the pool, we didn't really know a ton of the kids coming back, and volleyball, boys volleyball, seems to be very much like that this year, if not a little bit more so. And so we're going to be learning a lot about these teams and these kids over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you mentioned swimming. Our most successful swimmer this year, as it turned out, was Dom Davis, who 4 months ago it was like, who's Dom Davis? Because he missed all of last year because of injury. So you played high school volleyball in the eastern part of the state. So I think this is a question I think you'd be pretty knowledgeable about. For a team that is rebuilding, what is the position that a team, if it can, should shore up first? What position is most important to then build around him?
To me, it's got to be libero, or at least 2 or 3 kids who can really return serves consistently, because volleyball, like we talk about in a lot of sports, defense leads into offense. Basketball, you make a stop, you can get out into transition, but there is probably no sport that defense more directly ties into offense than in volleyball, because it's instantaneous. You have to play defense to immediately turn around into offense, and then it immediately goes back. Anyway, I'd say libero is probably the most important, because without someone who can consistently pass to your setter, and I played setter for 3 years, if I didn't have someone who I could trust to make a good pass, I couldn't make a good set, and therefore set us up to have a good attack.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah. So like, I want to say it's setter selfishly, because there is a lot of control the setter has in the way that the team operates. And I think from that point on, the setter becomes the most important position. But if I'm running all over the court to try to get to a pass, I can then not set up my outside hitter. If I'm out of position, my middle hitter is now all of a sudden taken out of the play. Maybe I've got a set back row now because I'm so far behind or past the net that they're the only reasonable option, and it creates a downhill effect here. So I would want a good quality libero, or at least several people on the roster who can play back row well when they rotate in, that are going to pass consistently. Without that, there's nothing much you can do.
If you were forced to, enough about the game, it sounds like, could you coach a high school team?
No.
I mean, I'm not talking about dealing with personalities.
Sure.
I'm just talking strictly like X's and O's.
I knew enough. So our team was really new. I think we had been around for about 10 or 15 years, but there wasn't a whole lot of investment into the program. Shortly after I left, it seemed like that kind of changed. I think Northampton made the playoffs for the first time in like 10 years after I was gone. So like, our team was basically like, I was friends with a lot of the kids on that team. We were kind of like a rec league team. Our best win was against Easton, a team that made the playoffs, I think 2 of the 3 years that I was playing on varsity in some fashion. We beat them once on their senior night when I was a senior, and I got the game-winning point. It was very cool. But it was...
Winner, Jake Adams.
This is... quick aside for that. So I had a top spin serve, really like nasty spin on that. I could not do float serve. I couldn't do a jump serve. Didn't have enough of the athleticism. Didn't commit to volleyball enough either. Like, that's a year-round sport if you want to get really good at it. I was targeting the guy that was in the 2 position, which would be, if you understand volleyball, it's the guy who's going to serve next in your rotation. So he's playing the opposite hitter spot, at least when they're lined up on defense. They're going to rotate once they get into their attack and everything. But I was at that moment targeting him because I knew the entire night he had been their worst serve receive, and I missed. Bad. I hit it to the back line. So I'm going for try to get it just over the net and have it dive in front of him, and I knew he was going to make a bad pass. And I had done that 2 or 3 times to set this part up, and I just shanked it off my hand. But thankfully, it had enough topspin on it that it hit line. So it dives down just enough, hits back line. Like the guys on defense were waiting for it to fall. They thought it was going out. It just barely fell in. We won on a really crappy serve.
That's why they called him the Grim Reaper in high school. The extent of my volleyball career was I made the elementary school all-star team in Connellsville. The elementary school all-star team. And we played a match against the teachers and lost. Brendan, baseball, softball, I believe boys track?
Yes.
So what interesting impressive numbers do you have for us from your talking to coaches?
I think the most impressive stat is North Catholic sophomore Jack Steineman recently set a state record in the 3,000 meters in indoor track. He ran that in 8 minutes, 30 seconds, 30.83. I don't know the hundredths, whatever that is. But he is aiming to build off a freshman campaign, which he qualified for states in the 1,600 and 3,200 meters in the outdoor. And then Butler is loaded, it seems, as always. Like I feel like every time that Mike Seibert sends me something of theirs, it seems a kid is breaking a record of some sort, or in the top 5 of some sort. He's
very thorough at following that,
He is an encyclopedia of Golden Tornado track and field information. So Nico Baguetta, we're very familiar with him. Tough-nosed quarterback for the football team last year. I anticipate he'll be playing running back next year, but before that, he'll be throwing javelin. He was the runner-up in WPIAL Class 3A last year.
He is the most ripped javelin thrower I have ever seen at the high school level.
There's a picture of him I'm looking at.
Scares me. I think I made this comment last year too when we were talking track and field season.
When we were talking about football. Yeah, you said you wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley.
No, I would not.
Carter Ickes, he won the 200 and 400 meters at last month's TSTCA Indoor Championships with personal bests. So he's also there. You mentioned the relays, Brendan Eicher, who's a distance runner for Butler. So track, as always, will be something that we'll be paying attention to. They have big meets throughout the year coming up. So baseball this year, pitching. I feel like last year was a lot of pitching as well. Butler has 2 pitchers in Nolan Stefanik and Kyle Castile that Josh Forbes, the baseball coach at Butler, thinks could be drafted this year, which would be really cool. Two pitchers who could be drafted on the same pitching staff.
The draft's only what now? 15, 20 rounds? 15?
15, I think.
Wow. So I'm expecting, hopefully, we've covered them. I think they've made the WPIAL semifinals in my time here. Seneca Valley won a WPIAL championship last year. If Butler has the pitching, they have Maverick Clement behind the plate. That could be a team to watch, especially as the weather starts to get warmer and things get more consistent in playing. We have Zane Pasek at Knock, who is the second tallest pitcher in the country, regardless of college, pro. Yeah, that's last year. There was a pitcher in Oregon that was taller than him, but I think he's 7'1", so he's the tallest.
That's a crazy stat.
Yeah. So maybe we'll have to find a way to work with that and see if we can find any other pitchers.
That's a story.
His size.
That's a story.
Yeah. So there's him. Softball this year, we have what's the girl's name at Knock? I'm forgetting. Emerson Jones. She's been a star.
Derek's girl.
Been hitting home runs. She's a junior now, right?
She's a sophomore.
Oh my gosh.
She's only a sophomore.
She's accomplished a lot in one season that we know that much about her. And for the first time since I started working here, basically, Seneca Valley, they don't have a star pitcher anymore.
Or they don't have Marlise Hames at that.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing a lot of change in softball this year, which should be fun to watch, see who kind of steps up as those next players, Emerson Jones, and see who becomes those stars. But, yeah, this spring I feel like is more so a season of change than most I've been here.
You mentioned Jack Steineman at North Catholic. Now, last year he had a teammate who was a senior, Tyler Carroll, who was there to kind of help push him. Tyler Carroll and Jack both made the state meet. This year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they have a couple other kids really step up. They usually have some good distance runners down there at North Catholic, but I'm going to be interested to see if is there somebody else that can step up and on his own team and kind of challenge Jack Steineman in practice, because last year it was him and Tyler going back and forth.
By the time that WPIAL meet rolls around, it's in the 90s. So that factors in. Then you're on the turf there at Slippery Rock and kind of baking for a little while.
Yeah, I heard you were sunbathing last year there. I had boys and girls lacrosse, and it seems like this has been the case for basically a decade. When it comes to boys and girls lacrosse in Butler County, it's led off with Mars on both sides. The boys are going for their 10th straight title, WPIAL title, and they have a lot of talent back this year, but they did lose Luke Spring, who was a very experienced goalie for them, and they also lost last year's Butler County Boys Lacrosse Player of the Year, Ben Bowser. Jake, you'll remember that name. You did the story on him. So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up for them into that leadership role. They have several candidates. Jack Turch scored 67 goals last year. Grant Weaver had 32 goals, 30 assists. Blake Cote, whose brother Austin is a legend at Mars. He was on the team that won the state championship back in 2022. He scored 21 goals last year, and Henry Saver scored 26. But with Ben Bowser gone, you would think that opportunities for those guys to score even more are going to increase because Ben Bowser handled the ball so much last year, and he scored a lot of goals. So with him graduated, opportunities are going to be there for other guys to step up. The girls' side, this is really impressive. Mm-hmm. These players are all back for Mars this year on the girls' side. Katie Blake, Tess McGrath, Anna McGrath, Haley Long. Those 4 players combined for 241 goals last year.
That is nuts.
I mean, I feel like we should just, have them all on the show right now. Say, what's in the water down there at Mars? They have a lot of firepower back, but Jake, you did the story on our girls' player last year. It was their goalie, Ella Roach.
Yeah.
And she's gone.
Yep.
She graduated. So
both teams are without their last year's starting goalie. And Mars girls are going to be able to score goals. There's no doubt about that. Can they find somebody to step into the very big shoes left by Ella Roach, who graduated in net? That's going to be the storyline that's going to play out over the next 6 weeks or so for Mars girls. But they're going for their 4th straight WPIAL title. So
I feel
there's
like
a lot of WPIAL titles when it comes to lacrosse down at Mars High School.
I feel like even more so than in hockey, you have to have a different mindset to stand in a goal in lacrosse. That ball is like, it feels like it's 2.5 pounds and it's being fired, especially on the boys' side. That thing is being whipped at you like that.
No. But what?
Don't forget to wear a cup.
The guys in PIAL are not hitting a slap shot at 120 miles an hour or whatever it is at the NHL level. But, man, I would not want to be hit by that.
No. I just want to throw this out there. Real quick, I never played ice hockey, but I did play street hockey. And me and a couple, 4 or 5 of my really good friends. And when I was probably a senior in high school, we turned the tennis court in town we took the net down and turned it into a street hockey.
D2 Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. And my friend Jay was playing goal one time and was not wearing a cup.
Oh, no.
And my friend Chris took a slap shot from probably, 25 feet away. And it smacked Jay where the cup should have been. And I can still hear that sound. It's sickening to me. And he was on the concrete just writhing in pain for 5 minutes. I mean, we literally had to help him up, and then he kind of looked like a cowboy walking off. Didn't want to get too close.
In college, our fraternity and several fraternities and sororities would play co-ed floor hockey against each other. They basically siloed off the Greek life against themselves. So I'd play goalie most games because I didn't have enough stick handling to really be able to do anything else other than play defense and kind of just get in the way of people. Well, the team that we were supposed to face the one night didn't show. So the kids who would ref us, and they're college students like us, decided to scrimmage against us. And some of them clearly had played hockey at some point. We were getting toasted 4-0 within 5 minutes. We're not going to play a full game. It usually lasts about an hour, but we figured we'd play 30 minutes or so since we were already there. And they're cooking us. And this kid takes a shot from half court. It's in a basketball auxiliary court or whatever in this athletic department's building or whatever it was. He takes a shot from half court, and I took that one off the inside too, and I hit the ground, and the guy goes, "I think we're done for the night here." And I was like, give me a minute, and everyone was like, "Nah, Jake, I think you're good." So we go walking back to my apartment. Me and another kid that I lived with were on the team. We come walking back. We're clearly home early. And my roommate, who became my officiant at my wedding, turns and goes, "You guys are back soon." And they're like, "Yeah, Jake got hit in the..." and Brooks goes, "How you doing over there, bud?"
Jake's like, "I'm all right."
It was thankfully not a direct shot, we'll put it that way, but it was enough.
Oh, it's enough.
It was enough.
You guys really went on a tangent.
But
we've had an interesting show today.
I feel like everybody has every boy has at least one story like that.
Absolutely.
Side note, my friend Jay got married and has 2 kids now. So apparently nothing got
Everything's
Permanently messed up.
Everything's
The wires
fine.
weren't crossed.
Yeah, the wires weren't crossed.
Well, anyway, we're going to have our spring previews out in the paper this week. A couple of them are going to be out before Thursday. Track and field, boys volleyball, baseball, and softball are coming Thursday. Lacrosse is coming Wednesday, so you'll be able to find them all on newsstands or in your mailbox if you are a subscriber to the Butler Eagle. But do be sure to check those out, all of our players to watch lists for the spring season. Butler Eagle has its spring sports previews out this week. Baseball, softball, track and field. We've had a couple others in the weeks leading up to this. If you want to follow any of our coverage from what's going on at Mars, Butler High School, Karn City, anywhere here in Butler County, be sure to subscribe to the Butler Eagle. Go to butlereagle.com, look for our subscribe button there, and listen to us here on Ion Sports. We will talk about more of what's going on, share some of our insights, be a little bit weird, but bring you some entertainment as well that you can't get in the newspaper and online every week. Subscribe.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team. We're having a show over here, I gotta tell you. If you could see me, Derek's making fun of my outfit. He said I look like I'm from the Partridge Family. I love my blouse.
All right,
Does
Marin
Marin know what the Partridge Family is?
No.
Even better.
Do you like 80s movies?
That's more
I don't usually
70s.
watch that.
Yes, let's go.
Off the roaring start.
You guys ready?
Yep.
Marin, you good?
Yeah.
All right. Our guest this week for the Ion Sports podcast is Mars Junior Marin Raible, who recently placed third at both the WPIAL and PIAA Class 3A Girls Diving Championship meets. Marin, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So you have had a few weeks to kind of reflect on your performance as a junior. What are your thoughts on what you were able to accomplish this season?
Yeah, I was really proud of myself that I was able to place third at both states and WPIALs, and I've only been diving since around July of 2024. So I'm really proud of how quickly I've progressed. So.
Yeah, and you didn't come out of nowhere this year. When we talked after WPIALs, I think it was, we talked about how you came in 7th as a sophomore. Coming into the season, did you have any specific goals in mind?
Yeah, my main goal was mostly just to make it to states and make it on the podium. So, and I had a lot of time to reflect on last year's season and kind of look at all of my dives that I competed, and I just had a big goal to really increase my degree of difficulty and learn a lot of new dives. So yeah, and this was my first time qualifying for states, so it was just a wonderful opportunity.
You get to compete in WPIALs at Pitt's natatorium, then you get to go to Bucknell, which is also a really good quality college natatorium. What's the nerves like for you? Did you feel it at all, especially when you got to Bucknell, or no?
Yeah, so for WPIALs, it's actually the swim WPIALs is at Pitt, and then our
Oh, that's
WPIALs
right,
is
yeah.
at North Allegheny High School. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely a little nervous. Like I definitely felt some nerves, but my coach Maria and I spent a lot of time leading up to that, just really working on all the little details of my dives and stuff, trying to perfect everything and just make everything really consistent. So yeah, it made me feel a lot more confident going into it.
Your first 5 dives at Bucknell did not go all that well, while your final 6 were great. Your coach, Maria Meisenhelder, said that she nailed them, and that was a quote. What was the difference? What allowed you to flip the switch the second half of that meet?
Yeah, so there were a couple of dives that I was a little shaky on at the beginning, and I think I was just a little nervous, but as time went on and I kept competing more, taking more turns, I felt a lot more relaxed, and I began to just trust all the hard work that I've put in before that, and just, yeah, I kind of autopilot from there, so.
There was one dive in particular we talked about on the phone that day at States when I spoke with you. One that you were performing for just the second time that day that you were particularly proud of. Can you walk us through that instance and exactly how that turned out for you?
Yeah, so this was my back one and a half twister, which I worked on twisters a lot this season. That was one category that I specifically really wanted to try to improve on. So I competed it for the first time at WPIALs, and then I decided that I wanted to also compete at states because it has a lot higher degree of difficulty compared to some of my other dives. So yeah, I put in a lot of work to get that dive because it was a big goal of mine, and I was really proud of how it turned out. I think in competition, it was probably the best one that I've done. So I was really excited about that.
You mentioned earlier that you only got into diving just a few years ago. So what was your athletic background or experience before diving?
Yeah, so I actually did gymnastics,
Okay.
like I think most divers do. But yeah, so I started gymnastics when I was about 5, and then I competed starting around the age of 7 with exquisite gymnastics team. My coach was Lindsay Stansel, and she mostly just built my foundation, honestly, for diving and to where I am today. Like I not only got physically stronger through gymnastics, but it also definitely built my like mental strength as well. And yeah, so I had struggled with a lot of injuries by the end of my gymnastics career because gymnastics it's really hard on your body. So by the end, I had to have surgery on my hand, and that was kind of like the moment that I realized that I don't think I could do it anymore. But I had a lot of friends. I built a lot of relationships through the sport, and a lot of them I still talk to today and dive with. And when I saw them transitioning from gymnastics to diving, and they were very successful at it, I thought I would try it out, and I'm really glad that I did.
I've seen a lot of former gymnasts become either pole vaulters or divers. Divers especially seems to be. So
Yeah.
like for you, it was injuries that kind of necessitated the change. Is that the case for a lot of former gymnasts, or is there a reason why former gymnasts will go to diving or some of these other sports as they get older, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think diving is a big one because we have like we learn a lot of air awareness and the ability to flip. And yeah, I think injury is definitely a big cause of it because it's just, like I said, it's so hard on your body, but you go through all of that hard work, and like all of these girls have so much talent and stuff that I've worked with. And I just think that you want to like kind of take that talent and hard work and put it towards something else. It's like we all just have this drive to like succeed and get better, and we don't want to just stop there. So yeah, I think diving definitely is like the way that we still get that excitement and can like work towards our goals, but in little less like hard on our body way. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Marin, did you have a specialty in gymnastics? Did you have like an event that you were best at over the others?
Yeah, I really like bars. I think that was my favorite one. I worked on it a lot because I had a lot of ankle injuries. So whenever I was kind of struggling with my ankle injuries, I could use bars still. So I got to work on that a lot.
You mentioned that diving kind of filled that void when you left gymnastics behind. But how important was it for you to find something not just to take up your time, but take up time that dealt with athletics? Because I mean, you were used to competing, and diving offered you another avenue to do that. How big was the fact that you had another avenue to compete athletically as opposed to just finding something else to fill your time?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of hard because I did gymnastics my entire life. So I definitely wanted to go into something that I could just like have a passion for the same way. But yeah, I think diving, whenever I started it, I immediately like felt determined because I saw like all of these other girls and how successful they were, like I said. And yeah, I really I really just strive to be like them and to get to that level. So yeah, and it takes a lot of hard work, and it's fun to still get to compete against them. And that's just like a great opportunity that I can still compete, and especially against some of the girls that I competed with when I was so little. So it's really cool.
Maria Meisenhelder, your coach in diving, has coached so many successful divers. One certainly that comes to mind is Taylor Hockenberry, the star at Mars who won 3 district titles and 2 state titles. This was about a decade ago. Other than the direction you have received from Maria, is there any other person involved with diving that has either helped you or you have looked up to in the sport?
Yeah, so I started diving at Pittsburgh Diving Club with my coach, Ford McClinney, and I get to work on 1 meter and 3 meter there. So it's pretty cool. And I've been starting to work on a little bit of platform. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, he's a great coach. He really has built my foundation in diving, and he's helped me learn all like the technical details and also like different competition like strategies and stuff. So yeah, and then this summer I get to compete. I get to keep competing at USA meets and AU meets for the first time. So I'm looking forward to that.
With swimmers, I've learned over the years that, especially when they're trying to make the turn at the wall, they're using visual cues, whether it's at the bottom of the pool to know when to make their turn, or looking up into the rafters, or for flags or certain signs to know when to make the turn, because they're blind going into that wall. Otherwise, they're going to run into it. For divers, how do you, when you're going to a new pool or going to Bucknell for the first time, what are the visual cues you're looking for to know how to land your dive? So that way you're like, are you looking at something on the ceiling, at the wall? How do you kind of, and with your gymnastics background, I'm sure that kind of helps understanding the twists and stuff, but how do you find those visual cues? What are you looking for?
Yeah, so we work a lot actually on like timing of everything and stuff because diving is so like particular and like it's very detail oriented. So I feel like we work on a lot of like when like kick time and stuff. So like whenever you're flipping, you want to kick and you always want to like see the diving board and then you kick and like you see your feet. So there's definitely like different times and different things that you have to look for different dives, and that's one thing that I've like really focused on because it's something different. I know gymnastics has really taught me like air awareness and how to flip and everything, but that is one different thing that I would say because I have to try to land like head first instead of feet first. So yeah, we work a lot of time on just like seeing the board and like kicking your feet towards the board and seeing your feet. So yeah.
How do you go about like getting over that fear of, like, we've all can dive into a pool just kind of like, you know, basic from the ledge, but how did you get over your fear initially of learning how to trust to land in the pool head first after years of doing it, you know, complete opposite way?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it just like, it takes a lot of patience because it's definitely, I feel like 1 meter came easier, but like when I do 3 meter, there's definitely a lot of hard landings and smacks, but it's just like staying determined and staying focused on my goals and just like knowing like, okay, it might not go as well at the beginning, but if I keep trying it, then I'll figure it out and eventually I figure it out. But like when I have to learn new dives and stuff, it's definitely a process. So it's just like mostly trusting the process and trusting that it'll take time, but and trying not to be too afraid of it. It's definitely a little nerve-wracking trying new dives, but it's also the excitement of once like I learn them or once I do them, even if they don't go great the first time, it's all fun. So
Jake's assumption that we can all dive into the pool the regular way is incorrect. I can't keep my hands
Just off
above my head.
Just off the ledge?
No, I can jump off the diving board and stuff, but I can't like dive head first. I can't
learned
keep my
something
hands
today.
over my head. It just freaks me out for some reason.
Cannonball!
When I was a lifeguard at Alameda, I actually have a video of me trying to dive, and it is hilarious.
We're gonna have to
Alameda.
We're gonna have
I love
to
the
have
Alameda.
Marin teach you how to dive then.
I don't think it'll work.
Yeah. Well, let's try. That's a fun segment. Would you be willing to do that this summer, Marin?
sure.
That'd be embarrassing.
We'll see what we can do. Yeah. I think that'd be hilarious.
I can pencil dive. We'll do that. So when you're not diving into the pool or into your homework, what do you do with your time? Are you interested in anything else?
Yeah, so it's actually funny because going off of that, I lifeguard and I also teach swim and dive lessons at the pool. So
We got a new client for you.
I used to lifeguard. I can swim. I just can't dive. So that's all. Have you ever had to save someone?
Yeah, I have not. No, luckily.
I didn't either. Don't worry.
Yeah, but yeah, I love working with kids and stuff, and it's really fun. And I'm a part of a lot of clubs. So like through my school and also just like through the community. So I'm part of National Honor Society through school. And then I'm part of Key Club where we like make blankets and donate. I'm also part of Future Women in Healthcare Club, and we help hospitals and we host like blood drives and stuff. AFS Club, another one is we like host international kids and we just like make them feel welcomed and take them around the school and do fun activities with them and stuff. So yeah, I really enjoy that.
Nice. That's awesome.
Hey, future of America on point.
Sorry, I didn't flip my page here. I'll be honest. What is your ultimate?
We can see.
Brendan's off to a good start today.
What is your ultimate goal in diving, and does it extend beyond high school?
Yeah, so like I said before, I'm doing AAU and USA diving this season for the first time, so I'm really excited for that, and I'm hoping to see like how far I can get through that. I'm also really excited for senior year because I want to improve from this year. Yeah, and it's senior year, so it's going to be exciting. And then a few days ago, well, I think it was like last week actually, verbally committed to the University of Pittsburgh for diving.
Awesome.
So I'm really excited for that. Yeah, thank you. I'm really grateful for that opportunity, and I can't wait for it.
There's a whole crowd cheering her on today.
Laura's got a soundboard over there, and she just loves to press the buttons and everything. So
It was appropriate.
You got
it was
2 cheers from
necessary.
her, which might be a record for one episode.
You could get this too. I feel like this would fit. Oh wait, this.
Well, Marin, anything else that's kind of on the horizon for you?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's more than most kids. I'll tell you that. More than most kids.
Committed to Pitt. She's helping make blankets for those in need. She's working in healthcare stuff, and
she's got all the boxes.
Honor Society.
Yeah, Honor Society. Well, congratulations on a good season, Marin.
Yeah, we appreciate you joining us today. Thank you so
much.
much. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Marin.
Nice young lady there.
Yeah.
She's got all kind of stuff going on.
I'll tell you what, like,
When I was in high school, I came home from school and like took a 2-hour nap, got up, ate dinner, went back to bed.
Took a 2-hour nap.
Yeah, I was lazy, and she's the antithesis of that.
I was gonna say my takeaway from this with any diver or I guess like extreme sport, quote unquote, like pole vaulters. My brother tried pole vaulting for 1 year in track and just really couldn't figure it out. And I wouldn't even dare try any of that. Like the idea of learning how to do any of those dives it's too much for me. I have too much fear that something will break.
Well, that's why you mentioned it during the interview. So many divers have a background in gymnastics. The biggest difference is instead of landing on your feet in gymnastics, now you're going head first into the water. But in terms of like the motions and just like vaulting yourself up, I mean, they're kind of used to that. But we have a ton of divers that have done well in Butler County at Butler, Seneca Valley, Mars, who have had both on the boys and girls side, who have a very successful background in gymnastics.
It was not something I would have considered growing up, but I can definitely see the value of it. I mean, we have so many athletes that have been former gymnastics. I've covered a bunch of athletes over the years who at least did gymnastics for a couple years at some point or another. Mm-hmm. Very popular. But yeah, that was a good interview.
Hey, something else that happened big.
We
just talked to a diver from Mars, Marin Raible, who placed at both the WPIAL and the state meet. Something that happened this past weekend, Seneca Valley Hockey winning their second straight state title. Brendan, take it away.
It was by the same score as last year as well. We did not get to go out there. It was in Westchester. Little bit of a drive. How long of a drive would you say that is? Like four and a half hours? Yeah. So I ended up calling their coach, Tyler Masiska, afterwards, talking before they had their pizza party at the hotel. They had 2 boys score hat tricks, and Cooper Hahn, I think is how you say his last name, and Braden Morin, John Stroka, the third, who I came away from the PIAL Penguins Cup impressed by with the way that he was able to move past defenders, and he shook a few guys during that Penguins Cup in plays that ended up in goals that were. It's harder to describe hockey than it is a football field, like where you just juke. You can't describe a deke because describe a deke because I don't know. I couldn't really put it into words. It's pretty cool though, and this team from top to bottom, their forwards, their defensemen, their goalie. It is very rare, and it's obviously the 2 state championships illustrates that it is very rare to have a team as deep as they were. And one of them mentioned to you yesterday when you went to talk to them that their whole team wasn't even there for some of the games.
Yeah.
And they're still dominating. They were behind in 2 games this year. That's it. Their only loss came in a shootout to North Allegheny. And the 2 games that they were behind in, they ended up coming back, and I think they went on goal, like 3 or 4 goal runs to end those games where they won decisively, and you would have never known they were down. So this team was a complete team. I'm not sure we'll see another team like this where they had 1 loss, like I said. They dominated every team, only trailed twice the whole season. And if you look at the stats they had all the way down to their goalie, Chris Nichols, just a ridiculous team. So it's very fitting that a lot of those guys are seniors. They leave as state champions for the 2nd year in a row.
27 saves in the state championship game for Christopher Nichols.
I met him in person yesterday when they returned from states. They went to the Cranberry Township Municipal Building. Chris is tiny. That is a really good goalie for how small he is. He is really, really small.
Very soft spoken too.
Yeah, very soft spoken. Yeah, I was impressed by it. Like, that is a big area that little guy has to cover, and he covers a ton of ground. Braden was pretty matter of fact about it. Just like, yeah, we were the best team all year was basically his takeaway. Yeah. Like, hockey players can be a little bit humble on some stuff, and I don't fault any athlete who's like, yeah, we were the best team. Like, I want them to be honest like that, but he was like, no, we kicked everyone's butts all year.
Do you guys like that atmosphere of hockey where everyone is just very complimentary of the team, and it's the team, and you're playing, you get teeth knocked out, you're still playing, you're tough, you're gritty, like
teeth knocked out.
It's just all like
teeth knocked out.
I like when players show personality in sports, and it seems in hockey that it's very hard to get someone to say something about themselves. It's always about the general collective around them rather than, I scored that goal.
I appreciate that.
You appreciate that?
I appreciate them, because if it's just him out there, he's not scoring that goal because there's 5 defensemen on.
I think
5 guys on.
I think there's I don't know what exactly the line is, and I want to distance and make sure that we're not like saying anything particular about Braden or anyone was saying about like hockey, but like in terms of just the general, what kind of athletes do we like covering or hearing talk? To me, I don't necessarily want an athlete to just be like, oh, well, like my team really helped me out. Like, there is some truth to that and stuff like that, but be a little bit more honest. And they're taught to say this stuff. They're taught to say nothing or say something without saying anything. But I do enjoy when like you get an athlete that is just clearly, excited about what they did. Or
this trophy belongs in my house. Nobody else had anything to do with the state championship. That's what you want to say.
I grew up on NFL films and Steve Smith saying into the camera, if you see this face, that means I scored. And then he scores, he comes back and he says, if you see this face again, that means I scored again. I like that sort of stuff.
I think that's different from like the team success stuff. To say that like, oh, we won this trophy because of me is one thing, but for someone to be like, yeah, I cooked him. Like, that's I'd rather.
I've had some basketball players say that to me. Like,
I'd like getting some personality from it, especially as like a reporter. If all I'm writing is, "Oh, we played a really good game today," that's not much personality to it. Yeah, it's not an interesting story.
People are going to read the first 3 lines.
So you don't believe humility has any place, especially at the high school level? I'm talking to him. I've lost you. You're gone.
That's not true.
Humility has no place in sports.
No, I'm not saying that players shouldn't be humble, but I'm saying as people who write stories and try to be as entertaining as possible.
Let me ask you this: if after state championship game, if a kid said it was all me, I did it, this trophy's mine, would you print that?
Yeah, he looked at the look he gave you was yes.
Send that one to Keystone Press Awards.
But if that's what they say,
that's what they say.
I mean,
and that's probably not the first time. If a kid would say it that boldly, that's probably not the first time. We also don't right?
90% of what I get in post game interviews, I'm not running just because there's not enough space, largely, or not enough time in the day. To me, like I said,
one person.
The team accomplishment is like, I like hearing them be complimentary of their team and everything like that. But sometimes it is like, okay, when I ask you about a play that you made, I don't want you. It's better for me to hear someone say, I did XYZ thing. I saw this. I knew I could beat this guy, than him to just be like, I just made a good play. Like I want something more specific and more colorful that goes into.
But it is a team sport.
But the feeling.
Now, if you want to talk about a true, like a kid goes out and wins a state title in a pole vault, then you can. Hey, that's individual. That's individual.
And for Marin,
But even she was complimentary to
she
to
was.
people she looked up to. But
She wasn't thanking the water for falling into it. Like,
hey, I do find it. This is the
Thank
second
you,
straight
water.
year that Seneca Valley Hockey has played Holy Ghost Prep and whooped their butts. Second straight year.
And
You said it was the same exact score?
7-2.
And I noticed this after Brendan filed his story on Saturday. Braden Marin in both games had a hat trick too.
Yep. And this year Cooper Hain had one too.
Yep. Really good team.
Really good team. Crazy
asked-
what they were able to do.
I asked them how their ride was, and they said it was really hot because the AC died 30 minutes into the
So like my
4-hour drive
apartment.
back. Yeah.
See, it's like my apartment.
Brendan,
I missed this.
You're actually holding your own. I think you're 3-3 now.
I went 0-1 last week.
Well, we had 2 last week.
0-2 for the last 2 weeks. Brendan wasn't here for either of them.
Your trivia
I
question.
think I'm 0-4 this year.
Very clear cut.
Are you ready?
Who was the first player to win 3 Super Bowl MVP awards?
Who was the first
Who's
player
that
to
Pokemon?
win Super Bowl?
Tom Brady.
Oh, you're not taking your allotment of 5 minutes. No, it was the answer is Joe Montana.
Oh, he did come before him.
And in fact, Joe
He played in the
Montana.
80s. He doesn't count.
Joe Montana is Tom Brady's hero, by the way.
Was that a straight just like guess or
That was my answer. That was my answer.
I know that was your answer, but in your head,
Yeah, that was a guess.
did you have like, I don't know, I'm just going to guess.
All right.
Yeah.
Real
Okay.
quick.
Oh, good.
Name the 3 quarterbacks that Montana beat in the Super Bowl in those 3 MVP Super Bowls.
I could not.
Ken Anderson, Dan Marino.
One more. Come on, buddy.
They beat the Bengals twice.
Brendan.
Yes, but he was not the MVP of that second
Oh.
Bengals Super Bowl.
I probably won't get the other one.
John Elway.
Oh yeah, that was
I
a
had
blowout. That was a
We'll
blowout.
give you for the 2. You get that.
I'm surprised you got Ken Anderson there. I'm proud of you.
Ken Anderson.
Kenny Anderson.
I would not have gotten
I don't know who that is, so good
I do
for you.
not know my
That's
NFL
great.
history that
Mr.
well.
and Mr. Let me put my spectacles on. Okay.
Put your glasses back on.
So it's time for the Beyond Butler segment of the podcast where we talk about something outside of Butler, whether it be college or pro, or in this case, even something at the amateur level, because we're talking about sports documentaries. Something like the 30 for 30 series that ESPN had. I love those. Which is your favorite? It doesn't have to be a 30 for 30. That's just an example. But what's your favorite sports documentary that you've seen, Brennan?
The U and the
Yep.
U Part 2. Those ones are really
Phenomenal.
That is a 30 for 30.
good. Yeah, those are 2.
Both of them.
Those are 30. Any football 30 for 30, I could probably watch like whenever it comes on. Like I've been at the gym on the stair climber, the treadmill, and they'll be on the TV, and I'll be paying attention, watching it. Like I will never shut one of those off if they're on. I don't usually watch ESPN anymore, but that is a reason to watch ESPN.
Jake, is yours a
No, my 2 favorites are the U and the U Part 2.
Really?
I love those.
I was trying to
They're
find a way to
so
set
fun.
you up here. No,
No,
okay.
I got nothing for you there.
So it's not
I
on
love those.
Secretariat or
No. Yeah, no, I love those 2 documentaries. I think in part I got the box set for the original 30 for 30 because of the U, because that was part of that box set.
well, I'm actually going
I
to go.
don't know if I still have that.
I'm going to go football here too. But have you seen Pony Excess, the SMU?
Yep.
Have you seen that
That's
one?
a good one.
The SMU football now is. I mean, they're decent. They make an okay. Well, they made the playoff 2 years ago, and we know if you make the playoff, you're a great team. But for the most part, over the last 15 years, they've been decent. But back in the 80s, the early 80s, they had Eric Dickerson and Craig James, 2 running backs that would go on to star in the NFL. There was I think it was a 4 or 5 year stretch where they lost 4 or 5 games in like 4 or 5 years. Never won the national title because this is back when people voted on it instead of actually having teams play each other on the field. I think there was one year where they ended up like 3rd or 4th in the country. But they got caught cheating, basically giving players money to come play for them.
How
in
quaint.
I think it was 82, and they got some restrictions put on them. I think they lost some scholarships. But
It's called the death penalty.
The NCAA told them. They said, "Look, this is your first and only warning. You get caught again, and you get the
death penalty.
The death penalty." And the death penalty came for them in 1987 because they continued to pay players, and for 2 full seasons, 87 and 88, football at SMU did not exist. Can you imagine a program that is like high profile, because that's what SMU was back then? Pick a high profile. I don't know, Ohio State. Could you imagine 2 straight seasons without football at Ohio State?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Wouldn't be fun.
Penn State came the closest with the Sandusky scandal a decade ago.
Yeah.
Like that legitimately, there was talks of suspending that program for a year or 2.
Yeah.
The death penalty was floated around for months. So, yeah, we were really close to seeing that.
So, do you know what the Pony Express was originally?
Craig James and Eric Dickerson.
I'm talking the original historical, before the U.S. Post Office. That's how they used to deliver mail.
Especially
out
once
west.
it got west, yeah.
They would give mail in a satchel to a guy, and he'd just take off on a horse. That's how it was.
Yeah.
And it was called the Pony Express. Well,
It was actually a really impressive.
Yeah, they were like
structure they
moving
had.
too.
yeah, they were moving.
They'd grab it and they'd be like, yeah, yeah.
Think like bus drivers, they would have a route. They would just keep going
Look
that
at
route.
Brendan. Brendan's like, were you
So-
alive then?
Some of you guys are on like pre-workout sometimes. I had a coffee today and I'm still not on your
It's that
level.
grapefruit, man. It's that
It's
grapefruit.
grapefruit. Yeah.
I'll crash in about 2 hours.
It seemed just appropriate when SMU got these 2 big running backs. I mean, really good running backs, and Eric Dickerson and Craig James, that they would just call
forgot
themselves
Craig James was in
the
this.
Pony Express. And the documentary, which was made about 15 years ago, they played off of that and called it Pony Excess, because there was so much cheating going on now. Not that they were the only school doing it, but they certainly got caught.
I had known about the SMU death penalty for quite a while going into that. That was my first lesson on what actually happened.
Mine too.
It's just like,
Mine too.
a myth of like, oh, there was this team that was given the death penalty and you just kind of move on with your life. And then I watched that documentary, like, oh.
Yeah.
It was
Big
it was
time.
well done. It was a really good documentary.
And the best part is you get to see a number of questions answered by your favorite Skip Bayless. I know.
When he's in that setting, though, he's
cool.
fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's totally fine.
You put him in a debate setting.
Yeah,
oh
when
my
he's
God.
when he turns into actor Skip Bayless,
Actor
it's a
Skip Bayless.
different story. No, it's a good one. I would love to see. Maybe I should get back into those at some point. They turned him into a podcast later. Like they obviously once Bill Simmons left ESPN, those became kind of different, and they in some ways I think they kind of got a little washed too. But some of those early ones were really good, really good.
30 for 30.
We need a
Awesome.
Butler for Butler.
Butler for Butler. Brendan for Brendan.
Speaking of Butler,
Speaking of Butler,
Y'all are just
Jake recently got in touch with.
I'm mocking her.
Speaking of Butler, Jake recently got in touch with Terry Hanratty, Butler native and former Steelers quarterback, and he opened up in an interview. Jake, his mindset seems to be helping him deal with some major adversity right now.
Yeah, so he's talked about this on Terry's Huddle or Hanratty's Huddle, his podcast. He was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer back in December, I believe it was. He went public on New Year's Eve with the news. And it's been a few months now. To not bury the lead, he's doing well. I wouldn't say the cancer's necessarily in remission, but he kept saying the words at bay. He's still got to go for treatment for it. He's lost his hair, said that it saved him money on shampoo and conditioner. My favorite part of that story is him. So like when he was on our podcast last year, it was probably our favorite episode. I think we mostly it's in the top 3.
A lot of laughs.
He has a great line about Terry Bradshaw, the other Steelers quarterback. You guys may have heard of him. And he pokes fun at Bradshaw for wearing wigs back during his playing days or shortly after and whatnot. He's on the Merv Griffin show back in the 80s. And at one point, Bradshaw calls Hanratty about the cancer diagnosis and everything. They're chatting. And Hanratty asks him, hey, do you still have any of those wigs? I might need one of them soon. And so I basically lead off the story by saying, he's still waiting for his wig. Bradshaw has not sent it via mail. We need to start a petition.
Give it to the Pony Express. It'll be there in 2 days.
So he's doing well. He's going into some more treatment. He talked a bit about how like this hasn't changed too much. Like I asked him a couple different questions about, humor is definitely a big part of your life. He talked about prayer and stuff too. And it's there. Like none of this has really like altered him. Sometimes when you get a nearly death sentence, it can change your entire outlook on things. He said he was making jokes at the doctor when they gave him the news, and the doctor's giving him this cross-eyed look of like, are you sure you're listening to anything that's coming out of my mouth right now? You have stage 4 cancer there, bud. And Hanratty's response is to joke through it because he thinks that if I don't laugh, I'm not helping myself at all. And he feels bad for some of the people when he goes in to get his treatments. It's a very he said this in his podcast several times, and he said it to me. Like you go into a hospital and there's people with broken bones, or they might be, about to deliver a baby. Like there's a bunch of different activity, and sometimes it's not all sad. There can be a little bit of liveliness, I guess you can say. And I've never been in a cancer ward, but he was describing it's like it's quiet. It's very quiet. It's very like morose, and he sometimes wishes he would just like get up on a chair and just crack a joke just to make some people smile a little bit. But I think it's kind of time and place situation there a little bit too, is my like interpretation of it. But it was a good interview with him. Obviously, you guys have talked to him before, and yeah, we're wishing him the best, obviously. And it seems like he's doing all right. He and his wife are powering through this, and
I've often heard. I mean, there was about an 8 to 10 year ago period where I had 3 members of my family get diagnosed with cancer, 1 pancreatic and 2 lung. And I've been told, I mean, it's mindset is so important when you're fighting that, when you're battling that, and you're waking up every day dealing with it. And it's good to hear that Terry, even though he's dealing with this lung cancer, he's still able to be upbeat. And that's good to hear because, as you said, we had him on the show last fall, and that show was a blast. Mm-hmm. It really was. It was good to have him on, and hopefully we can speak to him again.
I got one last story here. I promised him I wouldn't put this in print, but I didn't say I wouldn't put it in the podcast. So when I'm on the phone with him, and I don't think he's going to hate me for saying this. This is funny. He just, like, something got in his throat at one point. Like, I think he took a sip of water and just started coughing a little bit, and he had just gotten out of a doctor's appointment. So we're on the phone, and, like, this cough didn't go away for a couple minutes. And he's like, he thought we were recording for the podcast to like use later on, and so he's apologizing for it. And I said, no, Terry, you're fine. Like this is just, I'm just recording the interview to write it up in the paper later. And all of a sudden he just starts going, just like,
he was like really trying to hold it back.
No, he was just hamming it up.
Okay.
And he goes, man, I was really trying to hold that back the whole time. Like, Terry. So
that's funny.
Yeah, he was just
good for Terry.
Being a prankster there, but I thought that was pretty good. My wife's sitting in the car there because we had been running errands, and I did the interview in the car, and she just kind of gives me this look of like, what the heck?
What are you doing?
She still hasn't forgiven you for Canada blowing the Olympics. So
no, we haven't talked since. It's been a month.
Well, right now it's about 38 degrees outside, and it's spitting snow, freezing rain. Hopefully at some point we can talk about some good weather and some baseball and softball. I mean, actually games being played.
Yeah.
Maybe next week.
Tell you what we can talk about in half an hour. Me enjoying a Chipotle bowl. See you guys later.
We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.